Welcome back, everyone. Today's video is going to be an update on Stelco. Now, Stelco is a company that I have mentioned twice, I believe, on the channel, maybe more. First time saying I'm looking at buying it, second time saying I recently bought it. But now, there has been a bit of a move recently in a lot of different prices, a lot of different things, and I'm going to update today on the question, is Stelco now expensive? Now, if you didn't hear what I mentioned in the last slide or think that maybe something has changed, it has not. Um, Disclosure, I still own this one. It is a rather larger position. So with that, be sure to doubt me, do your own due diligence, and remember, this is not investment advice. Doubt all my assumptions and have your own views on the markets. Now, a while ago, I mentioned I was buying Stelco. So here recently, the price of steel has suddenly picked up and the price of the equity has picked up, and I figured I would look at a little bit. Is the price of steel too high? Is the price of the equity too high? Just kind of look at the change. Now I put this here just to kind of get situated in what Stelco is within the market. They are a lower cost steel producer, and as I'm getting to, or will get to in a second, they're working on getting those costs even lower. So this picture, stretched a little bit, was from a presentation where this was some industry consultant estimating the costs in 2019. And this is the Stelco estimate from that presentation. And so you can see just below 450, let's call it below 450 in costs. And that's US per net ton. And here you can see the cost curve. They are in a lower quartile. So that means that they are less at risk from falling steel prices, as there's a lot of production that would come offline before they would be impacted. Now, one of the recent or almost current investments that Stelco is making is in upgrading their blast furnace. Now, what this upgrade would mean, they clarified in a release about a week ago, was that it would increase the capacity by 300,000 net tons and decrease the cost by $30 per net ton. So this is after the thing I just showed you. So they're a low cost steel producer, okay. But does that help you if the price of steel is very low? Or very high, actually. I mean, if you wanted the best performing steel stock in a launching steel price environment, you don't want a low cost producer. But in this environment and when I was buying, that's not really what I was looking for. This is the steel futures curve or strip or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it has a name, but doesn't really matter. Going out until, well, I guess 2023 now. But I'm more concerned with the next year, year and a bit. And so as you can see, the price now is just under 550 per ton, net ton. And going forward, it moves, it's supposed to be around 580, 590-ish per ton. And I mean, as you can see here, with the exception of when things were either really bad or particularly improving at an increased rate, potentially due to tax changes, tariffs, whatever you want to call it, most of the last 5 years, the price has been around $600 per ton. So back to Stelco for a second. Well, that is the point of this video. How much did they produce? How many tons? Well, going back to 2018, they increased from 2 million to 2.6 million. Add to that the 300,000 for the blast furnace upgrade, and we're sitting at about 2.9 million tons. So I'm going to use 2.8 for my estimate in a second, but point is they have been continuously decreasing cost and increasing capacity, and we'll see what's next because they've basically filled out what they said they were going to do in their prior steps. If we look at, say, $150 per ton margin, which I don't think is necessarily pushing it, depends on what final costs the numbers will be with the different input prices, depends what the price of steel will be, but let's say 440 plus 150 is just under 600 approximately, times 2.8 million tons, times 1.3. Well, the exchange rate is 1.32, but let's just go with 1.3 because that's what I kind of have in my head and use normally. We get 546 million in approximate cash flow. Now we compare that to a market cap of 1 billion Canadian. So my math skills aren't great here, but I think I can count to two. Yeah, I can count to two, except not entirely. But the point is, you never know what other impacts there are, but generally it doesn't look super expensive when you compare it to the mid-cycle cash flow potential. Now look, of course, there are other costs, other input factors that will change, that could change costs. Now the Minitac mine acquisition does reduce that, or the option, I should say, does reduce the potential of higher iron ore prices hurting them, for example. There are other risks, other agreements, assets, liabilities, assets in lack of liabilities, and whole sorts of other things, not to mention the ITDA of EBITDA, so interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. But the point is, even if you add those in, I don't think it's necessarily expensive. And this is especially true because if you look at the North American cost curve again, you have about 80% of the production that can make money at the strip price, futures price. And then you have maybe 20%, 15%, I don't know. It's your kind of depends where you have the price and where you have the production, but that can't, because all of the, on the right of this picture, the lines that go all the way up to where the W in Lake Erie Works is cut off, well, they don't make any money. And that is cash margin, or that is, so they don't make any money. So this assumption is not economy's booming, we need tons more steel type steel prices. This is what it's been for the most of the past 5 years, short of depths of recessions or heading into economic growth acceleration. So point is, steel price not super aggressive with this assumption. So to answer the question in proper terms, after going through some of the data there, is Stelco now expensive? According to me, I don't think so. I think it's still quite cheap from a mid-cycle perspective. Now, there's not an immense amount of risk of permanent capital loss. There is a large potential for volatility. Now, volatility means the share price can do whatever the heck it wants in the near term, especially it can be whipped around with the market. I don't know. You can never know. So share price go up, can go down. I don't know. It's moved up rather sharply recently. If the market pulls back, could pull back. Who knows? But we're at prices that were last seen about last year when we were in the midst of an industrial recession, and now the steel prices are more so normalized. So there's still a lot of skepticism here around the steel price from what I'm looking at. There's a lot of skepticism. Well, can they do basically what they said they're going to do? Is it going to be, is the impact going to be as big as thought? Is the production, are they going to be able to make and sell all the production? Still, it's a show me story. Definitely, it's not. I'm not saying it's definitely worth more now. I'm saying that if I'm right, they will prove it out over time and show the big cash flow in the upcoming financial statements. Not maybe not this quarter because they were working on the upgrade this quarter, so they won't actually make any money this quarter, um, including the investment cost. But going forward next year, we'll see how, if they can do what they said they're going to do and what they can do with that cash flow. Because remember, both the graphics, many of the graphics in this video were from a Mintac, when they from the presentation from when they acquired the option to acquire a mine, well, a part of a mine. And I really kind of smiled when I saw this, but the presentation name was called Project Kingmaker. And so that just speaks to the ambition of the company. They want to make a quality company that has lower risk because it's lower cost and high margin and can grow the company from there. And so that's what they've been doing, and let's hope that they can continue. And that's just about it for today. I would like to thank everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed or found something interesting. And I'm wondering if any of you have done some work, done some analysis on Stelco, what do you think is a fair price for Stelco, either now or over the long term? And honestly, I just would love to see what you think it's worth, whether it's lower than what it is now or higher. And so I'm curious. Anyway, as I said, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Until next time, see you later.